So we're rattling through today's sessions, and hello to everyone who's watching on the replay. Remember, whether you're live or on the replay, share what you're learning on social media. Use the hashtag GrowLive2021 and just share the wealth. There's so much great information and advice being shared here. It'd be selfish to keep it to yourself. So let everyone else know about it too. And I'm sure there's going to be some amazing gems and information coming up in our next session, which is a workshop with Emma-Louise Fusari. And it's all about information overload and how to power up your digital well-being. Now, I think we need that more now than ever before. Do you find it hard to switch off from tech, leaving you frustrated, stressed, and burnt out? Are you always in always-on mode? And is that impacting on your personal time and relationships? Is tech consuming your life, negatively impacting your health and well-being? If that sounds like you, this is the session that you want to watch. And Emma-Louise is absolutely the person that you want to watch talking about it. So I'm going to welcome her to the stage right now. Take it away, Emma.
Hello, and thank you. I think that was all the content of my workshop, so thank you very much. Good evening. Bye. Hi guys. Welcome to this Information Overload Power Up Your Digital Wellbeing workshop. My name is Emma-Louise Fusari, as Duncan kindly said. I've been a nurse for 20 years and I'm the founder of In-House Health, a data-first workplace health and wellbeing consultancy. So digital wellbeing is a relatively new area of research, and as we use digital technologies more and more, we are starting to see the impact that these technologies can have on our well-being, our general happiness and our health. By digital technologies, I mean anything that works digitally, including desktop computers, laptops, e-readers, smartphone, TVs, wearable devices such as smartwatches and fitness trackers. The list goes on and on. And I also include digital programs and apps that we can use. Now, this is a scaled down workshop from my half-a-day masterclass, and it's been really tough deciding which information to keep in. But let's start by reflecting on your use of digital technologies. So before we even start talking about digital wellbeing, it's useful to take a step back and assess our own current relationship with digital technologies. Once we do this, we'll be able to see if our relationship with digital technologies needs improving and how, and as a result, it will be possible to decide which steps to take. So I have this self-awareness questionnaire. I'm not going to get you to fill it in now. What I can do is, when you've asked me some questions at the end, I can pop the link in the comments and you can download it and you can do your own self-questionnaire. Like I say, we're short on time, so we'll just keep the conversation going. It's important that when you do fill it in that the answers are based on your experiences over the last 3 months, not kind of what you think you should put in. So kind of, you know, based on actual experiences rather on what things should be like, because everything in health and well-being, we all know what we should be doing, but quite often we don't do it. So well-being can be defined as the state of being comfortable, healthy and happy. The positive psychology PERMA model by Dr. Seligman is based on these 5 elements. And it's thought that anything that provides us with one or more of these elements will improve our overall well-being. So when you use digital technologies, ask yourself, does this technology help me develop positive emotions, engagement, positive relationships, meaning, and or a sense of accomplishment? Therefore, digital well-being is simply the impact of digital technologies on our well-being. Easy, simple. Okay, so now that we know what digital well-being refers to, let's ask ourselves, what are the risks and benefits of digital technologies for our well-being? So let's start by discussing what risks that you think digital technologies can have for your well-being. So we'll just have a few minutes talking about this. So feel free to take your microphones off and bring some ideas forward of what risks are happening at the minute with you guys.
So I think one that I see a lot within my clients is comparisonitis. You know, this using social media to see what everyone else is doing. And of course, they're all putting forward their kind of, you're comparing their highlight reel and you're looking at your outtakes and going, oh, this isn't right. I think digital technologies really enhance that for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think, you know, back in the day, it was kind of, I remember Edward Scissorhands, where, you know, people have like the best sculpture in the garden, and it's kind of that keeping up with the Joneses vibe, but it's everywhere now with all these, you know, Instagram and Facebook and the like. So yeah, that's one of the risks. Any other risks?
Huge negative impact on sleep, but then I would bring that up.
Is your forte?
Yeah, so specifically the blue light and the flickering pixels, it's just dreadful for sleep.
Anyone else got any risks?
Come on, guys, take yourselves off mute and join the conversation. I'm sure you've all got some experience, some negative experience with digital technology, with some risks and benefits, of course.
We'll come on to the benefits in a minute. Just the negative Nelly stuff at the minute.
Well, it takes time, isn't it? So many platforms, so many things to think about. You can't, you know, repeat everything on every, you know, it's just, like I say, it just becomes overwhelming, doesn't it?
Overwhelming, yeah, that's a huge thing, especially when the pandemic hit and everything went online. I, for one, switched off for 2 weeks and became Mary Berry, like a lot of people, and was making banana bread and just ignored it, like 5 million notifications.
I think it's a proper time drain as well. It can really just suck your time if you allow it to.
Yeah. What about you, Gary?
It can be quite a negative place as well. Lots of keyboard warriors, negative comments, people that don't maybe agree with what you say, and then all of a sudden they think that their opinion is fact.
Yeah, absolutely.
All of the above for me. Yeah, it can be a complete time drain. Can be quite a negative place at points in time if you're looking at the wrong stuff or looking at stuff that, do you know what, you don't really need. And also you're comparing other people's kind of, it just takes over your life. And because of that, you kind of get stuck, you forget what time it is. And then as soon as you've, you know, after a while, you've lost 40 minutes looking at Marvel comics online when you should have been working, you know, very specific kind of thing.
First-hand experience right there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But it can be quite negative, but there are loads of positives as well.
Yeah, and we'll like say that time hoover. There is a silly fact out there that actually every time you look at a notification on your phone, it takes you 23 minutes and 21 seconds to get back into a deep focus. So it shows you actually how much that can impact on your productivity. And, you know, if you're a smallish business, that's a huge lot of time that's been wasted on these digital technologies.
And that's a fantastic stat. And I was explaining that to, it's one I referred to a few times. And most of the time when you're talking to people about it, their response is either to go, oh, no, yeah, okay, wow, that is, or to go, nah, it's 20 minutes, no way, it doesn't take that long. What, from one ping? But it really does, because one ping is then looking at that ping, probably scrolling some more, maybe getting distracted by something else. And while you're there, you may as well check your other platforms, and then you get back to work, but you're not really in flow yet. And it's a huge impactor, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. So so these are some of examples of risks, and we've covered them, a lot of them off. So not being able to switch off is a huge one. And especially now, because we can work from anywhere and any time, depending on the type of business that you're in, it can be very hard to separate work from our private life. The temptation is to always check emails or to just do one more small task. Even when we're using social media for leisure, it can be hard to switch off for that FOMO, the fear of missing out in what's going on. Disengagement with people around you. Digital technologies can be engrossing and addictive. And that we risk ignoring anyone else who is physically around us. So we end up missing out on face-to-face interactions. I see that with my teenage children, where their life is seems to be in the phone rather than what's going on around them in the house. Invasion of privacy, that's another huge one. We share so much online now that our data has become a very valuable asset for companies that want to target us as customers. You'll see that, you know, we're told we're not being listened to. However, when you you know, I started saying like lipstick, and then the next day I know I'll get loads of Facebook messages about lipstick, and I've become a very lazy shopper. So you know, people can I suppose narrow down their content and advertise to us. There's a lot of criminology around data as well, and it's you know, it's the new moneymaker for criminals going forward. Disclosing too much information about yourself online. Cyberbullying, you know, we've seen lots of trolling and public shaming, because the internet can give people that anonymity, and it's easier for them to be keyboard warriors and bullies. Attracting the wrong type of attention, that's another thing. Accepting fake news or misleading information, that's something that I do see in my teenagers, that something that they might see on Instagram is portrayed as news when actually it's just someone's opinion. I mean, we can even go as far as adults, going back to Donald Trump and you know, the fake news stuff. Duncan had mentioned it before, so feeling insecure and seeing other people's updates. So yeah, there's lots of things on there. Information overload, that's the title of this this workshop. So it's important to be able to just see the information that we need at that time, and not taking on too much. So shifting from the negative to the positive, let's talk about what benefits we think there are to the use of digital technologies, and what impact that can have on our well-being. Any positives?
Wow. So everyone was saying, but of course there's loads of benefits, and now no one's got anything to say. Well, a slightly self-serving example for me, if I may. So I run Relax Club, which is, you know, a positive place that's accessible online, and you can literally have hypnosis in the palm of your hand that fits in your pocket. So, and obviously Relax Club isn't the only one. There's other examples of that out there, and there really are some fantastic apps and websites that can actually really help you with your mental health and your well-being. And so much information, knowledge, and like, we have access to pretty much every piece of information that exists in the world right here in the palm of our hand. That's amazing. And we use it to look at cat videos and read Marvel comics, but the potential's there, you know.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know if you guys remember, when, you know, when I had to find information out, I had to walk all the way to the library, then spend 10 minutes trying to find a book, and then the book was probably 10 years old to get information. So that, you know, real-time information at the tip of our fingertips is really great, as long as it's the right.
I did have the Encarta CD-ROM. Does that count?
Yeah. And again, for me as well, during the pandemic, my family's in Scotland, so the ability to be able to you know, have video calls and speak with people has been great, really, keeping in touch with people.
Yeah, the connectivity it offers obviously is great, and certainly, you know, I think everyone more so in the last 18, 20 months have experienced that because of COVID and whatnot. So even though you couldn't physically see people, being able to connect and digitally, video calls, etc., has been great. But I think my point was more, I know that it was a negative, but also it's a very much a double-edged sword, but it's also a positive, is the way that this technology is developing and can bring things to you that you want or need or want to see so much quicker. So yeah, the fact that you tagged it as, you know, you shout lipstick the day before, because you know that the next day you go on there, you are going to be and see adverts for lipstick. You know, your digital device at home now, you can create your shopping list on it. So it's a double-edged sword. It is, you know, Big Brother and all that kind of stuff. It is quite, you know, kind of scary. But on the other side, the flexibility it offers and you know, the ease that it gives people is also quite big.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. And I just said lipstick for some reason, being girly, but actually it's more golf stuff. I got into golf during the pandemic, so I'm like, ladies golf polo tops.
Although Kevin is now going to get a lot of adverts about lipstick, so
Yes.
enjoy those, Kevin.
Don't tell anyone, Wayne.
Alexa, switch the lights off.
Another example so Kevin earlier on said there's a lot of keyboard warriors and it's very easy to get into arguments, etc. But actually that in itself can also be a pro, not necessarily the arguments and the warriors, but actually being outside of your own bubble, being able to see and experience different perspectives and different views on things is a really positive thing as well, if you're resilient to it and if you approach it in the right way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think we did cover off most of these examples of the benefits. The list isn't as long as the risks, but actually I think they're a lot more rewarding, and which is great for our well-being. So the impact of digital technologies on self-confidence and sense of achievement. How does using digital technologies make you feel? So I just want to, there's lots of questions here, so I just want to spend a few minutes asking you to think about the activities you did in the last week using digital technologies and answer the following questions. So which of the activities resulted in positive emotions? Were there activities that caused negative emotions? And if yes, how can you reduce that impact? And did you get a sense of accomplishment or purpose from any of the activities you engaged in? And did any of the activities help you build positive relationships with others? Are there any strategies you can think of that could increase positive responses or reduce negative responses? So it doesn't have to be in order, just anything, just shout out anything that you think where you've had positive, negative emotions or a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, I'll go.
I've got to post Grow Live day one. Haha.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only thing. That's it. Everything else has been a barren wasteland. There you go.
Surely the first half of day 2's not been too bad.
I haven't been here for that much, so I'm still holding out judgment.
Right, I'll let you off.
Go on, Kevin. Is Wayne stolen your answer?
Yeah, no, it's all good. I think he stopped. Although I'm guessing one of his other tricks could well be ventriloquism, potentially. Yeah. No, it's been positive. We've just moved into an office, and I literally just put up a couple of posts about the new office, few images and everything else. But that has been and received massively. It's got more traction than any of maybe some of the sort of digital marketing tips possibly that I've put up in recent weeks. So it just got a massive amount of traction, and from that, it's created some brand new connections. The most positive being a chief executive from a mental health and well-being trust locally, because we were offering hot desks for people locally because of the lockdown, people having to work from home. So they're looking at that as an opportunity to, for people's mindfulness and well-being, getting out to the office for the odd day here and there. So that's been really positive. So that kind of gives me a little, a good feeling.
Amazing. Right. So
I've posted a few pictures of my dog on Instagram, and that's blown up. That's quite nice.
They're always a winner, dogs. If you want to get that that loving feeling from likes, the vanity likes, then post a picture of your dog on there.
He has his own Instagram account purely for that benefit.
Tell you what, there was one thing. So I've got into, over lockdown, got into weight loss, and lost weight, but also running 3 times a week. And I made sure I post every day I go running, which I'm sure people are getting fed up with it, but it's been really good motivation, and getting those comments is a really good way of keeping me going and keeping it fresh, rather than going, oh, I'll go out again.
Was giving you
Even
that,
though I often feel like I've got to go out again.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I know most of you guys, and without being online, we probably would have never met because we're all over the country. So that is one of the benefits. So let's now look at one more of the big impacts that digital technologies can have on our lives. Let's consider social interactions. How do people interact with each other through digital technologies, and have these technologies changed the way we interact? So I'd like to discuss, do digital technologies influence the way we present ourselves to others, and if so, how? Do you interact differently with people online compared to in person? And if so, how and why? How do online interactions make you feel, positively or negatively? I suppose that depends on the situation. And what strategies would you adopt to avoid a fight against negative attention?
Oh, some good questions there. So one thing you've got, how do online interactions make you feel? Something that's quite interesting. A lot of people have had this idea and have tried to kind of push the idea that, well, we may not have been able to see each other properly, but Zoom brings us together and it's a good thing. Actually, there's an awful lot of people, particularly elderly people, who it makes the situation a whole load worse, because actually it's reminding them of all of these, this is what you could have won. Here's all the people you'd love to interact with, but instead you've got to stare at a screen, and it's removed, but it's so close to reality. And there's some people just don't have that problem, and they love it, and it's a preference for them, and that's brilliant. But a lot of people struggle to understand just how tough that can be for some people, where they really need that energy and that interaction of being with someone, not staring at a screen.
Yeah, it's not the same, is it, as that in-person interaction. It doesn't release the same endorphins that you would get from being in isolation, really.
Yeah, I think.
Gary,
oh, sorry, you go, Wayne.
No, go, Kevin, your turn.
I was just going to say, for me, most of us on here being sort of, 30s, moving into our 40s possibly, and whatnot, obviously with the exception of you, Emma, you're very much 20s, I get that. But, it's kind of a funny one, isn't it, for us, because we've kind of, known the physical world before that. I look at the generation below, I look at my son, my daughter, and the activity, and it's all been on, it's all through Snapchat, it's all through Facebook, it's all through that. So the art of conversation and the art of, making a phone call seems to be dying a little bit in that regard. So it's kind of, for me, that's, how I kind of view some of that social impact. It's very much the younger age. I mean, I know I'm not, if one of my son's mates comes to knock for him, they don't knock on the door. They message him. I'm outside the front. Go figure.
However, I've seen the opposite with my daughters. Actually, they loved when they were allowed back in college, back in school, because there was only, like my youngest, who, she's really intelligent. However, she knows in her own behaviors that when it was online learning, she was like skiving a bit, and she says that she wanted to go to school because it actually makes her learn. It makes, she has to go. So I suppose, as like you say, it's always double-edged and two sides to the story. And I think I did miss the start of Chris's chat earlier, but that kind of brand awareness and presenting. So when I'm out and about, I've got my gold glittery trainers and, wear relatively bright colours. So when lockdown hit, I thought, well, I can't get my legs over my shoulders to show everyone my shoes. So hence why, I've now got 5 pairs of snazzy glasses. It's that kind of, so yeah, I have looked at how I present myself to others online, because that's had to change. And how do I get across personality and me, rather than just being another kind of body on the camera. So
I think it's also, so going back to the kids, I teach magic, and I love teaching magic because I think it's something where kids you have to interact with the other person for it to work. And you see it too often where you get the kids on the iPads, or they're there and everyone's heads down. And I think you're right, Camille. And bless you for saying 30s into their 40s. That's you've become my favourite person. Thank you very much. As I'm nearly 40, I'm 40s, nearly into my 50s, so I'm very, very pleased with that. So the camera's obviously doing a great job. I'm really pleased. But I see it when I teach kids, and it's great to see some kids that are really, they're coming on their phones, and then by the time you finish, they're actually interacting and engaging. I think it's just it's one of those things that they just don't get a chance to do it otherwise, because it's, as you say, they're all stuck. We're all stuck to a screen. So I think it's finding a way out of that is great.
My 10-year-old got a new mobile phone, or got his first mobile phone for his birthday. And because it was his first day of having it, he was therefore pretty much on it the whole day. He's been looking forward to this day for a while. And there was a moment where he was sat on the sofa, Zoe was next to him, his brother was the other side of the sofa, I was in the kitchen, and all 4 of us were interacting in the family WhatsApp group that had other members of the family that weren't in the house in it as well. And literally, that's funny, reply, like, just lift your head up and interact with the world. It's funny, isn't it, how easy it is to do that?
Yeah, it's it's bizarre behavior, but I suppose it's something we have to get used to. So moving on to let's look at how we manage digital technologies to improve our well-being. We can use digital technologies to improve our relationship with digital technologies. So what digital tools could you start to use to help you to create healthy relationships with those technologies? So I think in the very beginning, Duncan had said something about sleep and not using tech before bed.
Allocating time to, or allocating non-screen time kind of thing, or, turning off notifications. I mean, I've turned off notifications on Messenger, best thing I've ever done.
There's an app, I think it's called the Forest app. I don't use it myself because I don't need to. I'm pretty good at just putting I quite often put my phone in do not disturb, so that I can focus on what I'm doing, and it's permanently on silent unless I'm actually expecting something I need to be able to answer. Yes, the app, it's called the Forest app, I think, and basically it silences your other notifications, and you plant virtual trees and watch them grow, but every time you respond to something, or the screen time that you use kind of reduces the number of trees or how fast they grow. So you want to watch this forest grow, but it only happens if you're not being distracted by all these notifications and things.
That sounds
like I said, I've not tried it myself, but it sounds brilliant.
Yeah, what's it called again?
I think it's called the Forest app. I'll check.
So I've got it up now. It's Forest app forestapp.cc. Yeah. You can get it on Google and I think it's called Forest Stay Focused on the Play stores. There you go.
Oh, that's good.
I'll
be
getting that very shortly.
I'll check it out. So these are just some of the strategies. I could do a whole other workshop on this side of things, but I think it's good to get the kind of conversation going and actually getting to the root cause rather than the what can we do kind of thing. So turn off or reduce notifications. Keep only essential icons on your home screen, and on social media unfollow negative Nellies or fun sponges from your Facebook feed, so that we can be positive. And then finally, digital strategies. So we are running out of time and I don't want to be late for the next session, so I will just pop them up. So pen and paper, it's not good for that Forest that Duncan was talking about, but get offline, if there's something in your head, jot it down. Charge your devices, leave everything outside the bedroom. We've spoken about relationships. There's nothing more off-putting than somebody being on the phone in bed. Start and end your day without those electronic devices. Schedule times to check your emails and your notifications rather than having them interrupt you throughout the day, and spend more time outside doing things that do not require digital technologies, be it one with nature, be it one with other human beings. You should try it sometimes, it's really good. So as the writer David Wong said, new technology is not good or evil and of itself. It's all about how people choose to use it. So there's no need to demonize digital technologies, as they can provide a lot of benefits, as we've discussed. We just need to be aware of the pitfalls and how to avoid or limit the risks. Just keep in mind that your well-being is paramount, so make sure that digital technologies work for you by improving your PERMA factors, which are positive emotions, engagement, positive relationships, meaning and accomplishment, and try to have some time off from technologies and enjoy the moment with your physical surroundings. So thanks for turning up and answering the questions today. If you're watching on replay, then if you've got any questions, I'm sure there will be chat function in there as well. And has anyone got any questions?
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Emma. That was brilliant, and a really nice interactive session that got people sort of talking and sharing their experiences. So thank you for that. Really appreciate it.